Okay, on today's review, I've already taken this once, but I've added more things to it. Okay, so if you got a master on the first one, that definitely counts as one. Okay, remember 3 is none on the final. By the way, if you lock all your standards, your final is going to be pretty dang short and easy. Okay. Now, you got this little packet you can use to the side. This is a guide to how to graph. Okay, this is strictly graphing. And when I get to the parts where I have to find the answers for x, okay, I'm going to want to look at this sheet right here. Okay, you've seen that before. And then there are some equations with parentheses, and this will help me guide me through that. Okay. Okay, so obviously I got a graph first, so I want to use this. Now, anytime I don't have parentheses, there's a number in front of x squared, a number in front of x, and another number. It's in standard form, okay? So, obviously we don't have any parentheses here, so I'm going to look under standard. Okay, now you make a table. You need 3 points on it. And then the middle x is found by using the formula opposite of b divided by 2 times a. Now, a is in front of x squared, so it's going to be 2, and b is in front of the x, so that's going to be negative 8. Okay, so I'm going to write that formula up here on top of the graph. So I'm going to write opposite OPPB divided by 2 times a. Okay, so I take my opposite of minus 8, which would be 8, and then 2 times whatever a is, and a is 2. Okay, so we know that that is 4. You got to multiply them up first and then divide 8 by 4, you get 2, and that's our middle x. Okay. And then I will plus 1 to get 3, and minus 1, 2 minus 1 is 1, to get the other x's. Now to find the y's, I plug in on the calculator. So I'm going to put parentheses around these x's. Okay. So if you got a good calculator, you can go 2 parentheses, and I'm going to be putting in 3 second power minus 8, and then I'm going to put 3 in again, but not with the second power, and then plus 10. Okay, so that's 4. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but only I'm going to put 2. Now I'm going to show it how it's done with this calculator, because there's a few of you that have ones like these. So you got 2. You got to hit times before you go parentheses. Then I'll be putting in 2, close the parentheses, and hit your second power key. And then minus 8 times parentheses. I got to put 2 in, close it, and then plus 10. Okay, I got 2. Okay, now I'm going to put 1 in. So 2 parentheses 1. Remember, if you got one of these, you got to hit times before you do parentheses to the second power. Minus 8 times 1 plus 10. I got 4, which is exactly what I should get because these second powers make parabolas. So 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2. And then 1, 4. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there it is. Put arrows on these, and it's a U shape. Don't make a V. I don't want you making V's because that's something different, though we don't really do that until we get to Algebra 2. Okay, now here, the second power's there, but there's just one parentheses, okay, with an X inside, so that's in vertex form. Okay, so this is what I want to look at. I'm going to make my XY table. And to find the middle x, you set the expression in the parentheses equal to 0. Okay, so what's in the parentheses? X minus 4. Set that equal to 0. And then you just need to add 4 to both sides. And x equals 4. Okay, so that's your middle x. So you solve the little equation to find the middle x. Now you plus 1 and minus 1 for the other x's. So plus 1's 5, 4 minus 1's 3. Okay? And now we just plug in on the calculator to find the y's. Okay, so I've got 4 parentheses. I'm going to go 5 minus 4 in that parentheses because it said x minus 4. Then second power, and then minus 5. So you got negative 1. Okay, now I'm going to put 4 in there. I'll use this calculator, so I've got 4. Before I do parentheses, you got to hit times and then do the parentheses. And then 4 minus 4, close the parentheses, and hit your second power key, and then minus 5. So negative 5. Okay, now I'll do it with the 3. So 4 times parentheses, and then 3 minus 4, close it, second power, minus 5. And you got negative 1. Good, because anytime you got second power, those should end up the same. So 5, negative 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down 1. 4, negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 3, negative 1. 1, 2, 3, down 1. And it's a parabola. Looks like that. Okay, next problem. Now, this time we have 2 parentheses, and each one contains x. Okay, so that's factored form. So you make your little XY table. Set each thing in parentheses equal to 0. Okay, so x plus 2 equals 0, and x minus 4 equals 0. Solve the little equations to find the first and the third x. Okay, so minus 2, and that's going to be negative 2. That's the first x. Plus 4, and that's 4. That's the third x. Okay. Now, to find the middle, you add the first and third and then divide by 2. Okay, so I take negative 2 plus 4. That equals 2, but then we got to divide it by 2. You divide it in half, so that's 1. Okay. All right. Plug in on the calculator to find your y's. Okay, so first I have negative 3, and then a parentheses, and then I'll put in negative 2 plus 2, close it, and then another parentheses, negative 2 minus 4. 0. That's right. In factored form, these last two are always going to be 0. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you plug in 1. So you got 3 negative times, on this calculator you got a times and then parentheses, and then 1 plus 2, close it, and then times again, parentheses, 1 minus 4, close it. You got 27. Okay, and this is going to be 0 as well. Okay, so I'll use this one. Negative 3 times parentheses 4 plus 2, close it, and you got a times because you need another parentheses. 4 minus 4, close that. Okay, I got 0. Okay, so there go by 5s on the y. X's I'll go by 1, so I go left 2. Stay there. It's the x-intercept. 127, I'm going to go 1, then count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 27, and then 4, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, my next problem. Well, this one doesn't even have, it says no, there's no second power. Okay, so it's going to be a line. Depending on how it's set up, I either go 0, 1, 2, that's if y is by itself, or double 0 if the x and y are on the same side. Well, here the y is by itself, so we want to use this table here. So 0, 1, 2, and you just plug that in. Okay, so negative 5 times 0 plus 3, that's 3. And you're not going to get them to be the same this time because it's a line. Negative 5 times 1 plus 3 is negative 2. And then negative 5 times 2 plus 3 is negative 7. So 0, 3. 1, negative 2. 2, negative 7. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, you need to use this guide. You can use that on the test in Algebra 1. I just want you to get the process down, not memorized. Okay, now I start solving my equations. I'm going to get my, and now I turn the page. I don't need that anymore. And this tells me kind of my guide for how to solve equations. Okay. Get my GCF calculator up. So that's what you should be using. Okay, and away we go. So how many answers we have? There's 2. What do I have for x's? Well, I have x to the second, obviously, and I've also got x to the first. So if I have more than 1, I want to follow this route. So I make sure I have my 0, which I do. Now I count the terms. That is not a negative. I don't know why that's there. There's 1, 2, and 3. So GCF and T. Okay, GCF, you don't have the negative in front, you don't have x on everything, and if you enter 1, 5, and 14 into that GCF calculator, I just got 1, okay? So if it's positive 1, you can get rid of it, okay? Now, ABC, and I always take A times C. So positive 1 times negative 14. That gives me a negative product of 14. If that's negative, we're looking to subtract to find a difference of 5. Nope. There it is, okay? So 5 is minus, okay? So 7 would have to have a minus in front of it, and difference means the signs have to be the opposite. They can't match. And A equals 1x to the second power. So 1x to the second is x times x. Okay, so you just need 2 parentheses. Then plus 2 minus 7. So there was no GCF, so I have F1, F2. So x plus 2 could equal 0, or x minus 7 could equal 0. So I minus 2, and I get negative 2. Then I add 7, and that's 7, okay? All right, the next problem, back up here, how many answers? Well, the x is second, so there's 2. And then what do we have for x's? We have x to the second power, and we have x to the first power, so I'm going to have to follow the factoring route. So the 0's there. This time there's 2 terms, so I would do GCF and then see if I have a difference of perfect squares. Okay, so GCF, we do not have a negative in the front. We do have x on everything. And 4 and 20, let's plug that in. 4 and 20. Okay, I got 4. That means I need to do a GCF of 4. So 4x. We cross those x's out, and that's going to be 1x plus 5. Okay, DOPS, no, it's not even a difference. And even if it was, 5 can't be written as a perfect square. So you've got to cross that out. And this is my F1, the 4x, and that's my F2. So 4x could equal 0, or 1x plus 5 could equal 0. So I divide by 4, and 0 is my first answer. Minus 5, negative 5 is my second. Okay. Okay, next problem. How many answers? There's 2. What do we have for x's? We got x to the second and x to the first. So again, I got to follow the factoring route. So the 0. Count the terms. Uno, dos, tres, 3. So GCF and T. So GCF. Negative in front, no. You got x on all of them? Nope, 20 doesn't have x. And then if you go 3, comma 17, comma 20, ended up with 1. Okay, so positive 1 means don't do it. Okay, so I take A times C, positive 3 times positive 20, and that gives me a positive product of 60. So you're looking for a sum of 17. Nope. 2 plus 30, nope. Okay, remember it's a sum, you're adding them. 3 plus 20 is not 17. 60 divided by 4 is 15. No, that's 19. 60 divided by 5 is 12. There it is, 17. Now, B is minus, so we know we have minus 12, and on a sum, the signs have to be matching. Okay, now what does A equal? A equals 3x to the second power. So if it's not 1x a second, it ain't just x times x. To find out what it is, you need 4 parentheses. Okay, so instead of xx, I go 3x, 3x, and then minus 5, minus 12. Now to figure out what to do here, you go 3 comma 5, and that'll tell you what you divide by, unless it's positive 1. And it is positive 1, so I just leave that alone. Okay, and then 3 and 12. I got 3, okay? That's 1x minus 4. Okay, no GCF to bring down, so this is F1 and this is F2. Okay, so 3x minus 5 equals 0, and then 1x minus 4 equals 0. So I plus 5, so 3x equals 5. 5 divided by 3 is 1.6 repeating. Then I plus 4, and that's 4. There we have it. Okay, next problem. How many answers? There's 2. What do we have for x's? Now I have x second only. So I don't want to factor. I want to do this. I want to box up my x's, collect them. Well, there's only one of them. Okay. Isolate the x by adding 33. So 2x to the second equals 50, and then I divide by 2. X to the second power is 25, and then we need to find the square root of 25, okay? The square root of 25 is 5, so 5 or negative 5, okay? So again, you don't want to go this route when you have only. Okay, next part. Your packet's different than mine. Sorry about that. Okay, this is our next problem. How many answers? There are 2. What do you have for x's? You got an x to the second. You got an x to the first. Okay. So we got to follow this route. 0's there. Count the terms. 1, 2, 3. So that's this path. So GCF and the T chart, okay? So GCF, negative in front, no. You got X on everything, no. 5, 30, and 32. And I just got 1, okay? So, yeah. A times C. Okay, 5 times 32, positive 160. 160 positive sum of 30. If the number's over 100, don't even bother. Just write fail, and then I use my quadratic formula. It's on the board, okay? So opposite of B, so negative 30. Plus or minus the square root, parentheses, and that one needs a second power, and then minus, okay? Then after that, you make 3 parentheses in a row. So B is 30, and then I always go with 4, and then A is 5, and C is 32. And over here, down here, you got 2 times A, so 5, okay? Now, if you don't have a good calculator, you're going to have to make 2 square roots up here. So I got plus, minus, I got a negative 30. I don't know what that is, and 2 times 5 is 10, okay? Now, if you got a good calculator, I've shown you a bunch of times how to plug that in, okay? So right here, if you don't, you got to take 30 times 30, and then 4 times 5 times 12. 30 times 30 is 900, and then minus, then 4 times 5 times 12 is 240. So just minus those, and that gives you 660. And then you find the square root of 660. Okay, 25.69. Now, if you got a decent calculator, you can plug that square root in. You go second, x to the second. You need to double the parentheses to begin. And then 30, close it, to the second, minus 4, 5, and 32. So I did something wrong there, okay? Because it is 16.12. Oh, it wasn't 12, it was 32. Okay, 4 times 5 times 32. 640. Okay, so you square root 2, so that would be 260. So I find the square root of 260. And yep. Okay, now I go negative 30 plus 16.12 equals, and then divide by 10. Negative 1.39. Okay, then I go negative 30 minus 16.12. Divide by 10. Negative 4.61. Okay, next problem. How many answers? Well, you don't have any powers on the x's, so there's only one, okay? And you have x only. Yeah, I know there's 2 of them, but that's the only kind of x you have. So you box your x's up and collect them. So get rid of this one. So plus 2x plus 2x. 6x minus 3 equals 12. I collected my x's. Now I box my x, and I isolate x by adding 3 and dividing by 6. Okay, and that is 2.5. Okay, next problem. Oh, backside. Okay, how many answers here? There are 3. And what do we have for x's? We have x to the third, x to the second, and x. So obviously we got to go this route. So the zero's there. Count the terms. Okay, there's 4, so you're going to have to set up your grouping and your dots. Now put those parentheses in there. Okay, so in the dots is just 2 parentheses plus minus. Okay, so I've got 1x to the third minus 6x to the second. And then I have negative 16x. Remember, make that negative. Okay, and now it's dividing. Okay, now I don't have the negative in front, but I do have x to the second on each one. X third, x second. You always go x second. Then I go 1 comma 6, okay? I just got 1, so that means it's not worth putting there. And now I go on to this one. You got a negative in front. And then you don't have x on both of them, but you got to check out 1696. That gives you 16, okay? So whatever I have here goes outside, x to the second, and out here, negative 16. And the 1 will stay a 1. X third, x second, we'll take it down to x, and then those cancel, minus 6, and that's going to be the same thing. Okay, now, in each parentheses, I got 1x minus 6, and that is my f1, okay? And then cross those out, and we have x to the second power minus 16. If it's negative, just put minus. So x times x, 4 times 4, because that's adopts. X, x, 4 and 4. And this is f2, and this is f3. Okay, so f1, 1x minus 6 equals 0. f2, x plus 4 equals 0. X minus 4 is 0. So 1x equals 6. And negative 4. And positive 4. Okay, now my last two equations I need to solve from scratch have parentheses, so I flip this over. If there's no second power, you use your rainbows and then get x by itself. But if there's a second power, you're going to use q in place of what's in there, and then the chart. Okay. So this first one, you got a second power? No, so I'm going down this route. So rainbows. There's only one answer if there's no second power. So 5x minus 15 equals 10. And then I get the x by itself. I need to add 15. So 5x equals 25. And then I divide by 5, and that is 5. Okay, now this one, there is a second power right there. So you need to replace that with q. There's a 4 in front of it. To the second power equals 28. And then make your table. There's two answers. Okay. Now, box that q, get it by itself. You need to divide by 4. So q to the second power equals 7. Then you need to find the square root of 7. Okay. So I go second, square root 7. 2.64 or 65. I'll accept either one. And the other one you can do negative. Okay. Now bring in your x plus 2. And all you need to do is minus 2. So 2.65 minus 2 is 0.65. And negative 2.65 minus 2 is negative 4.65. Okay. Okay, story problems. An object is launched with a velocity of 85 feet per second from a height of 12 feet. What's the object's maximum height? Now, the maximum height, don't make the boxes on maximums. Make a parabola maximum. And to find the x, we're using opposite of b divided by 2 times a. And to find the y, we replace x on the calculator. Okay, that's how you find a maximum. Now you got to write the formula. This is gravity. So negative 16x to the second. Velocity, 85 feet per second, so 85x. Now before equals, you got to add where it started at from 12 feet. Okay. And instead of equals 0, it doesn't equal 0. I've just put a y. Okay, pretty easy problem. You got an a, you got a b. So what's the opposite of plus 85? Negative 85. And then a is negative 16. So I'd multiply that. That's negative 32. And then I take negative 85 divided by negative 32. And that's 2.66. or 6.5. Okay, now that's how many seconds it takes because x is time. Now I replace the x's on the calculator with 2.66. So negative 16, parentheses 2.66, second power, plus 85, parentheses 2.66, plus 12. 124. 25 is good, okay? And that's your feet. So your max height was 125 feet. Okay, next problem. An object's launched with a velocity of 85 feet per second from a height of 12 feet. After how many seconds will the object hit 0 feet? So here I'm just finding seconds. So I want to make my boxes because I'm not finding the maximum. So feet in seconds, x belongs to seconds, y is feet. And feet per second is 85, same as it was on the last problem. So I want to know when the object hits, first off I'll write the equation, okay? Gravity, negative 16x to the second plus 85x plus 12 equals y. Okay, now the last number is 0 feet, so 0 feet. Now it's feet, so that would be going for y. You can just scribble out the y. So I'm solving the equation. There's two answers. X squared and x. Got to follow the factoring route. So boxes, there's 3 terms. So GCF and the T. GCF, you got a negative in front. Yes, you do. Do you have x on everything? No, you don't. I go 16, 85, and 12. Okay. 1. But it's negative 1, so you got to do it. Okay. Then the signs all switch. So positive 16x to the second minus 85x minus 12. Okay, A times C. 16 times negative 12. Well, that's negative 128. Difference of 85. If it's over 100, just write fail. Okay, you want to use your quadratic formula. Plus or minus. So the opposite of B is 85. Square root. First parentheses is to the second with a minus after it. And then 3 parentheses in a row. So B is negative 85. And then 4. A is positive 16. And C is negative 12. Okay, now bottom we got 2 times 16. So I've got this, this, and this. Well, I know that's 85. I don't know this. I can plug it in my calculator if I got a good one. 2 times 16 is 32. If you have a crappy calculator, which would be one of these, okay, you're going to have to take negative 85 times itself, and then 4 times 16 times negative 32. Negative 12, negative 12. Okay, so I take negative 85 times negative 85, and that's 7,225 minus, and I take 4 times 16 times negative 12, negative 768, plus, so 7,225 plus 768 is 7,993. Then I find the square root of that, okay? 89.4. Once again, if you got a good calculator, you can get from here to here by punching in second, x to the second, doubling the parentheses, and negative 85, second power, minus 4, 16, negative 12. Same thing. So I go 85 plus 89.4 equals, divided by 32, 5.45. That's a good answer. Okay, then I take 85 minus 89.4 equals, divide by 32, negative 0.14. Okay, negative, I write the positive over here. Okay, final problem. A store, and have I got a deal for you on this? Okay, a store sells about 40 video game systems when it charges $200 for each system. For each $10 increase in price, one less system is sold. Find how many price increases it takes to reach the maximum revenue. Also find the maximum revenue. Okay, you're doing a maximum. This is what I do every time I'm looking for a maximum. Okay, opposite of b divided by 2a, we'll find the x. And then replace x on calculator. But this ain't gravity, okay? This is revenue. So the revenue equals the money I charge times the items I sell. Okay, revenue is going to be y, and then I make two parentheses around these, okay? So I make a parentheses times another parentheses. Now we're only looking for money amounts in this. So I have $200 and $10. So we start with 200, then I add 10x, okay? Cross those out. Now the items I sell, put your 40, no x on the first numbers. Those are your beginning amounts. And then one less system, so minus 1x, okay? Now, if I got a deal for you to get this A and B, here's what you do. You need to go to Google, do a Google search on either your phone or computer, and punch in Math Papa Calculator, okay? Math Papa, P-A-P-A, calculator, just like that, okay? Math Papa Calculator. Click on the first link, Algebra Calculator. And you get this screen. It says, what do you want to calculate? Well, we want to calculate 200 plus 10x, so parentheses 200 plus shift 10x, close it, and then make another parentheses. You don't even need to hit times. It'll times for you if you just hit another parentheses. 40 minus 1x, okay? And that's what we have, okay? So y equals negative 10x to the second plus 200x plus 8,000. You can use that on the test too because you get a computer anyway. So that's A and that's B. So the opposite of my B would be negative 200, and then I have 2 times A, which is negative 10, and that's negative 20. Now divide that, and that's 10. Now the 10 is how many price changes. Okay, now replace x on the calculator, all these x's with that 10. Okay, so I've got negative 10 and then 10 to the second power plus 200 times 10 plus 8,000. Okay, I got 9,000. So 10 is your price changes and 9,000 is your maximum revenue. Okay, and feel free, you got to know how to set that up, but then you can use your Math Papa algebra calculator.